Hello everyone, it's Sarah here from Happy Hands UK. Hope you're all well and enjoying the lovely sunny weather. I have the window open right next to me here, so I live on a terrace road, so if you can hear cars going up and down, I do apologise, but it really is warm and humid today. So I've opened my window to try and get a bit of air into my room, but we'll crack on regardless. So today I'm just gonna, I haven't really got a plan, to be honest with you. I just know that I'm gonna skinner blend these, and I'm just gonna wing it and see what comes of it and see what comes into my brain as I'm going along. Let's see what we can create. So the colours that I'm using, this is all Fimo. This is ruby quartz, and this is green, and this is lemon, and this is glitter silver, glitter effect silver. You can't really see it on this camera. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a skinner blend. I'll set up the camera and I'll do like a fast forwarded motion of me skinner blending them. And if there's anybody who isn't sure how to skinner blend, I do have other videos that show it in more detail. And you can always just ask me some questions if there's any questions you have in the comments down below, and I'll be happy to answer them. So I'll just set everything up and I'll be back in a minute. Okay, so ready to go. I'm going to start with the lightest colour first, because you can see already it's already got a little bit of stain in it from the green, but it's okay. It's not going to do any damage to it really. It's only a very small amount. So what you do then is I'm going to fold that over and I'm put it into my pasta machine this way. This is on the thickest setting. I'm going to pass it through, and that is it. You just got to continue doing this until the blend comes through. Now just make sure that you keep your sides parallel with each other before you put it through, so don't go off like this. You need to try and keep, don't look at the colour, look at the actual sides of the skinner blend. You want these to match up and be kept nice and tidy. This happens no matter what. You can't really do anything about it, at least not that I know of. And again, now if your clay starts to widen out too much, you can just grab an unopened block of clay and pop it on, and it stops it going any wider than that. This green's getting everywhere. This is a modified pasta machine, so it is easily cleaned, and I did clean it before I started, but already, I mean, you can see some of the colours, the bit of pink come through there, but it's fine, we're okay. So I'm just going to keep doing this, and I'll fast forward. I'll see you at the end. Okay, so that's those all done. So now I want to chop each one of them in half. And I'm going to put them through the pasta machine long ways. And then I'm going to gradually go thinner and thinner until I can get to the thinnest that I can get. And this will make us get a very long and thin piece of clay. So what we have now is this nice, long, thin piece of clay that gradually goes from yellow to the silver. So now what I want to do is roll this. So I'll lay it down and I will just making sure that no air pockets get stuck as well. And I'm just going to roll the whole thing up. And what I'm going to do with the rest of them, so I'll have this other one. So on this one, I'm rolling from yellow to silver. On this one, I'm going to roll from silver to yellow. And I'm going to do that with all of them so that they run, both of the same colour run opposite. I hope that makes sense. Right, so that's that completed. So now we have these. So they're the ones with the silver on the inside, and those are the ones with the colour on the inside. So now what I'm going to do for each of them is just roll them out a little bit. I want to make them a bit bigger. And I'm just pulling and then rolling a little bit. So pulling and pushing in and then rolling. And I'm trying to keep the diameter throughout even as much as I can as well. And then we'll do that with all of them. So I'll fast forward this. Right, so we have that, and then what I want to do is something a little bit similar to a video I've done before. And if you remember, I don't know if you've seen it or not, I did a video with the water effect cane, and in that I did this kind of thing where you join your little tubes up and then you make another cane out of that. So I am going to chop these in half, just so that I get a bit more colour through it. Let's try and get them all the same length to begin with. See, that was just a little bit tall, so I'm going to squash it. And it'll just keep it kind of consistent throughout then. So I'm going to guesstimate where half is, and cut it, and that gives us these. Now what I want to do is when I join them up to make this cane, I want to kind of alternate. I don't want a green next to a green, and I want to try and avoid a silver on a silver. So I'm going to put the pink next to this one. Now of course you won't be able to avoid it completely, but yeah, just try and keep it random and nice and spread out. It's not that easy. So you got your pink there, so we'll put that there, we'll put the green there, and then I'll put that over here, and that over here, and that over here. And if you notice, I'm putting all the straight edge, not the gunky edge, together. It's just so that it keeps that consistent as well. So we've got a good edge and a rough edge. And yeah, I'd say that was pretty much okay. And now I'm going to roll that. I'm going to start reducing it. So you've got this gunky edge, doesn't matter, you can cut the thingy off at the end. This will be less gunky, or distorted, but it won't be quite as bad as this end. Like I say, it doesn't matter, we can cut that off. We love to have scraps. Make some of my best work out of scraps, to be honest with you. So I'm just gonna do the same as I did with the originals and just kind of push in, and at the same time I'm kind of pulling as well to stretch it. And I'm doing this quite gradually, and I know I am probably rushing a little bit because of the camera and the time scale that we have. And I'm also trying to keep it straight, and if it twists as you're pulling like that, you can always just pull it back. Just trying to keep it straight. And I will admit to you, I don't know what the next stage is yet because I've not thought of it. I don't know whether I'm just going to do a slab. Not entirely sure. See how it looks when I chop into it. So I'm going to have a peek at it. I'm going to cut it in half because that'll be like where the best bit is. So that's going to give us that. So from here we could go again and join it together. But to do that I'm going to square it up. So I'm just going to go all the way down the cane and square it up, because then you can get a better join. So I'm making corners with my finger and thumb along the cane, kind of like that. See the difference? And I'm not really looking at where, it doesn't matter, I want to keep it random anyway, so I'm just flattening the sides, and then I'm going to go around and make corners by squashing the edges together there, and that's going to give us this. So then let's see where to join it. It doesn't really matter, just whatever you think looks nice, and then squeeze those together. So this is what I did with the water cane effect, but I did it in blue hues, and I wrapped each of these little canes in a white to make a kind of sea foam effect, but it's the same technique. And then I'm going to chop that roughly in half again, and I'm not going to do it, I don't think. I like to go random, although that is pretty. I do like random. That's the other reflection with the other mirror. Oh, we'll just go this way, I think we will. Why not? And again, join that together. I'm just seeing a little bubble there, so I'm going to just slicing, push the air out. And that's going to give us this pattern. Now there are a few things that you can do from here on in. You could make slices and then create a slab, one big slab, and then cut your pieces out. I like to mess, I like to have a play, So I'm going to just cut one piece off this end. Doesn't matter if it's gone a bit wedgy, it's fine, because I'm going to stretch it out in the pasta machine. So I'm going to go to about a 3. And that's given me this. And I'm going to go to a 5 the other way. That's given me this. And then I'm going to go to a 6. And that has given me this nice big thin piece. Like that. Very funky. And I'm going to bake this. So what I'm going to do with it, I'm going to use this in my die cutting machine. And I've got some earring shape die cuts that I'm going to use with it. I'll leave a link down below where I got those from, and well, you'll see when we're all baked, and we'll crack on. See you in a bit. Right, so we are now out of the oven and baked. I did do a few extras with the rest of the cane that I did. So I have these. I've had to put the camera higher up, so I'm finding it difficult to see the screen. I'm just hoping that everything stays in shot, because I can't see it, because I didn't want to keep banging the camera. So, right, so I have these. This ripped, but it's okay, we can work around it. And then I did some smaller ones. Now I did notice that when you, so you saw me taking some slices and then putting them through the pasta machine to make them bigger. So what I noticed is, obviously, the thinner that you cut your piece, then the smaller the effect when you put them together and put them through the machine. So these are nice big fat patterns, because they were chunky slices, and these are thinner, smaller. And then with these I just elongated, so I went through the pasta machine the same way to get a slightly different effect. And with this one I just I made long thin pieces, and then just spiraled it and then reflattened it through the pasta machine. I have got a couple of holes, but it doesn't matter, we can work around those on the machine. So that's those, and this is just what was left over, really. I've just mushed it together with the scraps. So that's the whole cane used. There was nothing left. So these are the pack that I got from Amazon. I don't know if you can see that. I will leave a link in the description down below. And these are designed, I think, for leather. It looked like leather on the pictures that they've been using, or maybe, I don't know, faux leather. It may have been paper leather, I don't know. Paper to look like leather. I'm not sure. So anyway, but they're designed to make jewellery. Obviously that's a pendant, that could be an earring, and etc, etc. I don't know about this, whether all the little pieces would pop out, and resining that would be an absolute nightmare. I don't know. I'm not even going to try that, not today anyway. So I'm just going to pick out, so these are rolled out on a 7, so they have to be really, really thin for this to work. So this machine that I have, I got this from Aldi before lockdown, so quite a while ago, probably 3 or 4 years ago, and it's by So Crafty. This has been plonked in the garage in storage for a long time now. It's got rather tatty, but it still works, it still does the job. So it's not a big posh cry cut or anything like that, but I'm sure that this will probably work better on a better machine. But this does for me, and it does its job. So because this is smaller, and what I did with this, you know the plates that you get, and they get cut into all the time, and then they get damaged, and they curve and they bend. All I did was get a self-healing cutting mat, and I cut it to size, and I've not had to change that yet. So I mean, I got a bigger size thinking that I could use a few, but I've not needed to. It works brilliantly. It's a little bit thinner, I think, than what the original plate was, but it seems to work perfectly fine. So I should have foreseen, I did later on, thinking that I need to make thinner strips so that it fits on this. In fact, I will use this one as it's already the right size. So, what to choose?
Sorry, I'm not sure.
Neither am I. Okay. So, I think I'll go with, I might go with these. I mean, I'm not into massive earrings myself, but yeah. So we pop it on with the grooves down, because that's going to cut it. I'm going to try and pop it so that I get as much out of this as possible. I might actually go this end, and that can go in there, and pop it on. And then just feed it through. Sorry for the squeaking. Right, let's see. So then this pops out, and we have an earring. Very thin, it's going to have to be resined. And then we have another piece as well, actually. The inner piece can make a smaller pair of earrings. So obviously I'm doing earrings, so I'll have to do that one again. I'm just going to tear away these little bits and pop them in the bin. If I could find a way to recycle the little offcuts, I would. So if anyone has any ideas, maybe shred them, I don't know. But because it's so thin, I just see it as a very little amount of waste, because this is hardly any clay at all. And like I say, the reason that I started doing this was for storage of my clay, and I didn't see it as scrap. I just seen it as clay that I'd made a lot of, like a big cane, and I didn't want it to just sit there and not be any good to use in 12 months time or whatever, because it's gone all crumbly. So this way I feel that I can store it away for years if I want to, and it's not going to degrade in any way. It's now in its plastic form, and it'll just live forever in my little storage box until I feel the need to use it. So if I get a nice cane that I want to keep for a long time, I will do this and store the sheets for future use. Where are you? There we go. I didn't pay much attention to the orientation of the pattern, but I really don't care. That's fine for me. That's okay. So that's those. So that's how it works. That's what I've been doing with my sheets of paper. I think this set was $7.99, and they're ideal because they are meant for making jewellery, so it works for me. I like them. I think it was a bargain, really, for the amount of pieces that you get in there. I'm just going to pop all these back in, and then what I'll do is I'll resin these. Now, because these are thin, they're going to curl. We've had this discussion before about them curling. So you do have to do it in short bursts and then thin, at least until you've got a good base down on the piece. Let's put that to one side. Pop these away to one side. I actually want to do one of those. I like that pattern. Because that was the original cane, wasn't it? Let's quickly do that. I'll do it and I'll come back. Right, I think I'm all set to go. So what I've done here, I'm trying to reduce the risk of curling with this heat. I don't have any double-sided tape. I've heard that that's a really good way to stop them curling. Someone suggested it in the comments of my last video. So what I've done is I've got this tape. I used it to seal a pipe upstairs. It's very, very sticky. So I've put the sticky side up in the centre here, and I've taped around the edges to keep it taut against the tile, and I'm just going to see if that works. So these bits here, you probably can't see because it's white, but these bits here are the non-sticky side sticking down, the sticky side down, and this here is sticky, and that's what these are stuck to. So I'm just going to try it and see if it makes a difference at all. I think the only thing that worries me is if I have an overspill, I'm knackered. There's nothing that I can do to clean that up really, so I'm going to have to be very careful. So I'll put this on fast forward and I'll meet you back. Okay, so that's been under for the full amount of time. So I did 10 seconds, let it cool 10 seconds, and then the full 120 seconds. I feel like the only part that's lifted, I don't know if you can see, it's just a little tiny bit at this edge that's lifted. So it looks so far so good. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put another coat on and try and dome it a little bit, pop it under and see how that turns out, and I'll do that and I'll come back. Okay, so I've just concentrated on doing this bottom one for now. I noticed I had a little tiny bubble just here. So what I've done is I've just put a few little Diamante things on. They're just cheap stickers, and covered up the bubble. So I'll do that on the other one in a minute. But what I want to see is, so I did the next layer, put the Diamantes on, and let that cure, and then I did another layer on the top, a thin layer on the top, just to seal those Diamantes up. Now I'm wondering how I'm going to get this up, to be honest with you. Let's see if I can use this, maybe my little dental tool. Now I did have a couple of spillages. The surface tension here, or the lack of it, meant that it kept kind of spilling out, but I found it quite easy just to go around and wipe up like this, and it made quite a clean sweep of getting the spilled resin. As you can see, I don't know if you can, but there's some tissue stuck down here. I forgot it was sticky and I tried to wipe it off, but hey ho, maybe this is too sticky, I don't know. Don't want to break it. Okay, so there's a little bit of residue here, which I could probably sand down or get a little knife on wherever I've put that. There we go. So I could probably just tidy up the edge a little bit. And that's that. Maybe sand it, I don't know. So what I'll do is I'll carry on and I'll resin the rest of it, and I'll pop back and let you know how I've got on. Okay, so I have them all resined up I've not made them into anything as yet, and I'm not going to do that on screen either. I'll just put some photos at the end of what I've done. You've seen me do it a million times, and you know how to put earrings together and stuff. So I'll just tell you the results of what we've done. So I've not resined the back of these ones because it was such a faff keeping the resin on these ones. So I feel like it's got enough of a coating to give it, there's enough strength. It's not bending quite as easily as it was. So I'm happy to not resin the back of these because I just think it'll make, it'll be very difficult and it'll make a mess. But I like how they've turned out. So I'll pop some ear hooks on those. These ones were much easier to resin because obviously the surface tension is easier to keep with it being a flat surface. So I think that's turned out really lovely, and I did do the back on these ones. So that's those, and then these ones are the long stripy ones that I did with the pattern. Not really sure which way round. I think it's that way. Again, they were easy to resin. So I think the trick with the resining such thin pieces of clay is to start with a thin base layer. The sticky back surface did help, and it was J9 branded jewellery. I think it's Janine Brown. Is it Janine? She says that she uses double-sided industrial tape. So maybe if you could leave the link for that, Janine, and I'll see what it looks like and see if I can get it in the UK. I think that it would be very useful. This stuff that I bought, it's just like a gaffer tape, I guess, and the sticky did come off on one of them. This stuff, it did come off, and I had to give it a good scrape off. It wouldn't come off. In the end I had to use alcohol, which then dulled the resin, so it had to have another layer. So it's, although it was helpful, it was a bit of a nuisance in that sense. So yeah, I think the best thing to do is go with thinner layers, staggered curing. So just do a 10-second, wait 10 seconds, do another 10 seconds, especially on that first initial layer, to help decrease the curving. And as you can see, the curving isn't there at all. It's come out pretty well, so I'm quite happy with that, because at first they did this, I think this one did, because I stuck it onto the sticky part that I'd already used and it wasn't quite as sticky. So you can, I laid some more tape down to do the other one, and there is just a little bit of a curve in this one, but not too noticeable, not too bad at all. And I did correct it a little bit by doing the back, so it uncurved, if you know what I mean. So yeah, there we go. I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope that's inspired you to get your die cutting machine out and have a go. I was thinking to myself that maybe I'm putting myself out of business with my cookie cutter, polymer clay cutter business, because I'm telling everyone how to do it without them. But it's okay. You know, it's just another fun way of getting different shapes if you don't have very much money, and you've got the equipment in already. The same with the paper cutters, the paper punchers. It's just to get a bit of variety, really, isn't it? And also to use up your clay and store it as well for long periods of time, if you've got a nice cane that you don't want to just let dry out. So there you go, I'm done. I will, like I say, I'll construct this jewellery and I'll pop some photos on. Also, if you'd like to buy me a coffee, the link is in the description. All donations, it's £2 to buy a coffee. It helps me to kind of afford to be able to get the materials needed to make these. Like I say, these videos, I don't make money on them, and my business is the cutters. So yeah, everything helps. So yeah, I'll leave the link down below, and thank you for those who have already bought me a coffee. I really do appreciate it, and I will see you soon. Take care, everybody. Bye.